Wow.
Yeah. That was sex. That was my sex talk. So, you know, but then I could say, well, what was the light of my mother? Because it wasn't all like, oh, doom and gloom, because it wasn't. My mother taught me great things about finances. She taught me about money and how to take care of myself, and this is what you do. And yes, I am giving with people, but when it comes to certain things, you take care of your money. You look at your bills and this and that, and she's very wise about that. And my mother also taught me about intuition in a way that she wasn't trying to teach me, but she actually was teaching me. My mother used to be so on point with certain things. A friend would tell her, like, this and this and this happened, and my mother could finish it. Like, she would know exactly what happened, and she wasn't even there. And I was like, wow, how does my mother even know the stuff that she knows? But the thing that I realized is that if my mother is that intuitive, and she's kind of like afraid to use it, then that means that I am too. Because I'm her and she is me. So if she has these incredible gifts, then that means that I had those gifts as well. What I realized through my coaching, my education is a place called the Fearless Living Institute, and we learn all about conquering fears, emotional fears, mental, all that stuff. And so what I learned going through the program is that my mother was in deep fear, and she was in a lot of pain. For her to not be able to hold her 10-year-old daughter who wrote her a 2-page letter that said, like, just love me, just hug me. You don't have to do, I think I was even negotiating in the letter, like, you don't have to do it every day, but can you just like once a week? Like anything. And she couldn't do it, she ran out. She must have been in so much fear, so much pain. And as I think about it, I think that my mother must have been afraid on some level of being rejected herself. I don't know what happened to her as a child, 100%. So I don't have that anger towards her anymore. And I would ask you, everybody here today, if you have any anger or anything like that towards your mom, your father, sure. Yeah.
Do you think that her inability to show you love and affection was because you might remind her of your birth father?
Oh, absolutely. I thought about that too. Because I look like the combination of the both of them. Yeah. Absolutely. I thought about that too.
Did you understand it as a child?
As a child, no, because I didn't know the psychology of thoughts and association with patterns and family, and if she felt like you look like him, so I don't know. I didn't know that. But as, me standing here today working on myself and learning, like I said, about fears and pain and family pathologies, yeah, absolutely I can see that. I can see that she must have, yeah.
Did you ever get to reconcile your relationship with him?
Oh, he passed away when I was like 19. So no, not really. But I did get a chance to meet his side of the family, and I heard really great things about him. So yeah.
Did your mother
The mom, I asked, because I had like 5 aunts, 6 aunts, and they said she got so much love, and she was so spoiled. Sometimes giving a kid too much could turn them in the wrong path too. So every aunt I asked, did she not get hugs? Did she not get? They're like, no, she got more than everybody. They all say the same thing. So I don't know. I mean, it's possible that my mother came in with that inability to bond, because it's not just me. It's my brothers. It's my other 2 sisters. It's very hard for her to bond. She will bond with children from what I see, like grandkids when they're little. Like, oh, grandma, like. But once they get a certain age, and the threshold, what I look at is around like 10 to 12-ish, then there's like that, which I don't understand. But like I said, yeah.
well, maybe she was molested as a child?
It's possible.
So about it.
Yeah, it's absolutely possible. It's possible, yeah.
I identify with what you're saying. I didn't grow up in a very affectionate household.
Yeah.
And as a child, I felt like my mother was real cold and brute. And now that I'm an adult, as a grown woman, and now that I'm making more of a connection with my mother as a woman to woman, and not just as a child to an adult, I'm realizing a lot of the pain that my mother carries with her. I don't know in your situation, but a lot of times people's inability to show love is,
Yeah.
you know, some type of underlying pain. And I'm
Yeah.
just so glad that you brought it up because I, as a mother of all female children,
Yeah.
I have to make the conscious effort, like I have to condition myself to give my children affection.
Right.
And I also struggle with people giving me affection. Like I try to hug people because it's the nice thing to do, but I ain't really big on people touching me.
Right.
I'll have sex with people, but I ain't really big on affectionate and stuff like that. So now I have to make this conscious effort to give my children. I want them to appreciate comforting touch. I want them to appreciate. I want them to know to separate the difference between good touches and bad touches.
Absolutely.
And I want them to I want them to also be able to be affectionate with their children, with other people, and to not be, you know, sometimes people touch me, I feel almost annoyed or irritated, and you know, I want my children to definitely, sometimes just holding their hand across the street, I try to take my thumb and like rub the outside of their hand because I think that's affectionate,
Right.
or I'll just walk up to them and rub their shoulder, and sometimes I'm thinking, am I doing this the right way? So it's very, very important, you know, for touch and correct touch and affection, and it's a nurturing, you know, as parents, we need that touch and we need that affection. And I don't want my children to ever, you know, misconstrue touch, you know, that's inappropriate for affection.
Absolutely, yeah, and I'm glad you said that too, because when I think about my mother, you talk about like touching their hand, like simple things. My mother shows love buying you things. Like she'll, you know, put an apartment and you know, for you in her name. She'll give you a credit card. She'll buy you a phone. She'll send you on a trip somewhere. Like she'll take you on a shopping spree. I mean, she shows it by buying stuff, and a lot of people do. But that's not what I needed. I needed something different. Now somebody else probably would have said, "That's great. I have an incredible mom that buys me all this stuff," and that's all I would have needed. But I also think that it's really great for us to have compassion for our mothers. We have to have compassion. Some mothers were physically abusive, some emotionally, some mentally. We don't always know why, and sometimes you're never going to know the answer, and I think sometimes we have to make peace with not knowing the answer. We have to just look at the person for who they are and just have compassion and say, you know, my mother was going through a lot, and I know if she was in her right mind, her right heart, right spirit, she wouldn't have abused me. It's something that happened to her. But I'm glad that God blessed me to have the grandmother that I have and the aunts that I have, because they were all loving. My grandmother was born on the first day of summer. And Rosetta was as beautiful and strong as her name. She was power, she was strength, and she was warm, and she was fierce, and she was nurturing. And so I had both of those, and so I'm grateful that I had that. My grandmother taught me also how to connect to my spiritual side. I remember there was a time that I kept coughing and coughing and coughing, and she was like, "That's not a regular cold," and I was like, yeah, it is, I'm coughing, I'm sick. She was like, "No, that's some people out in the street putting that electric on you." And I was like, "Oh, God, here we go, Grandma, what are you talking about now?" And she was like, people put things on you spiritually. And so I was like, now at 14, I'm looking at her like, you sound crazy. But now, of course, yes, people, we know that spiritual is connected to spiritual, whether it's light, dark, negative, positive. People can absolutely put things on you and you just not know it. It could be your friend that you think this person loves you and they're putting hate on you and they don't want you to succeed. It happens all the time. So, you know, my grandmother definitely taught me about that. When I think about like the negative side, we say is the negative side of my grandmother and what they had in common. My grandmother taught me how to keep pain inside. There was a time that she had really bad high blood pressure and her feet was, it was swollen like you couldn't even believe. And she couldn't even walk. And she never asked for help. And when she's like, "I can't cook today, you can do it, baby. Just reach up to the stove." And I'm like, something's wrong with Grandma. And they had to take her to the hospital, but my mom has the same thing. When she's in pain, you don't know when she's in pain. And I have that too. Sometimes I'm like, everything is great. I'm like, in the house. And people are like, "Your voice sounds different." No, everything's great. I'm just watching a show and it just made me emotional. So that's something that I'm still working on, yeah.
I think that right there has comes to history So I really believe that.
Yeah.
That's something that we as black women have
Carry.
through the years.
We do.
Really moves.
We do.
You know, be strong and don't say nothing because we go through it.
Go through it.
So,
Put your head down and just
yeah.
keep going. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, that's what I work on. Yeah.
One of the things that I've learned is that you have to let people love you the way that they do. You can't try to determine how you want them to love you exactly.
Yeah.
If you're in a relationship with a man, maybe you can say, oh, well, or maybe a good friend. Love is about loving you and then loving you the way you want to. But when it comes to like your mothers and fathers and people love you the way that works for them.
Right.
And you have to accept it. That's something that I had to learn to just accept. Oh, she's not doing it to me. No. She still was showing me love, but she showed me love in the way that worked for her. And if you want something different, you have to paint the picture that you want to see.
That's true.
But I mean, but I agree with some of what you're saying, but even our picture could be distorted. Sometimes that's a lot of times. I mean, I'm going to get into, quick, I'm going to start talking about my son. But it's true, when you have a picture of your head and that's an expectation of what this person's supposed to be, and then it doesn't turn out the way you hope, it hurts you sometimes. So I think we have to really be careful, and I think communication is so important. And talking about the person and say, it hurts me sometimes when you don't hug me, and can you be more affectionate? And I mean, oh my God, last week I had an ex. I mean, he's like the ex from hell. He kept, when I said he was trying to, Facebook me, email, text, when I said I blocked like 4 of his numbers, he always had another number to find me. And I was like, do you have something to say to me, something? Like, what do you want? And he was like, I really need you to forgive me. It's a burden on my soul. I know you're incredible and I hurt you and I'm sorry. Can you please? Nothing in my life is going right and I really need you to forgive me. And so we spent like maybe an hour on the phone and he said, I wasn't loving and affectionate because my father told me I was a punk. And I couldn't love you the right way. And so we actually made really peace with each other.
Right.
And it was mended because of the fact I was able to listen. Before I wrap up, I want to talk about my son. Look at him over there.
There he is. He on the camera now.
There
you go.
My number one priority is to love and protect him, to protect you.
That's
to
right.
love you.
Yes.
And he gonna protect you back.
That's right. I teach my son. Yes. And he's a Scorpio too, so he's like,
Yeah.
that's my mama.
That's right. Let's go.
I teach my son to listen to his intuition. I always taught you that your intuition is never wrong. It's never wrong. Your intuition is your internal guide, like GPS system when it comes to God and yourself. And it's like, ooh, this place doesn't feel right. Maybe I need to leave. So I always teach him that. I teach my son to practice discernment. What's a good decision? What's a bad decision? What are good friends? What constitutes this person not being a good person? Why do you need to eliminate people out of your life? What's the expiration date on this relationship? Has it come to that? And really analyzing that. He'll tell you, I ask him that all the time. I also teach him to not be impulsive. I mean, they love to label black boys. They're so impulsive, they just go up and do whatever. But I teach him to think things through before he makes a decision. I also teach my son, because I think about myself and being like the good mom, the perfect mom, and I know that sometimes I put pressure on myself. Because my thing is don't be like your mother. But how can I not be in some way? Because she created me. So certain things are going to be like her.
Mm-hmm.
I take the light, I take the dark, and I pull from both. And I'm like, okay, then I make my own decisions.
Technology.
Yes. But one of the main things I teach my son is how to express himself. As a boy. When he cries, I say cry.
That's right.
When he needs to talk, Mama, I caught him last year coming in the room. How cool, great, drop the book down. He's swinging like Cuba Gooding and Boys in the Hood. I'm like, we talk all the time. I mean, I always tell him, if you need to cry, I never say, oh, you're a punk, you're this. We watch him because he has to. And we also, as mothers, we have to think with these little boys, they're going to be with women. I mean, look at my ex. We broke up because he didn't know how to bond properly. He didn't know how to be affectionate. He told me his father called him a punk, and his mother didn't give him that love either. So he's like, how was I going to give that to you? So I was just like, yeah, you're kind of right. So I teach my son all the time. Listen, if you're in pain, say it. If you need to cry, say it. If something happened to you, be open about it. Because you need to do it. There's one story before I wrap up. My son talking about listening to your intuition. We went to the movies like a month ago, and we were exiting the train station, but before we did, I was like, I think this is the one that's closest to the movie theater. This is the exit. He's like, no, it's this exit. I'm like, no, I think it's the other way. We walk out, needless to say, I listen to him, and we're 3 blocks from the movie theater in the Freedom Coast. I'm like, really, Jerome? And he goes, what are you getting upset with me for? I'm like, because you told me to go this way. I knew you were supposed to go the other way. He said, so why didn't you just listen to yourself? I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, but Mom, if you knew, why didn't you listen to yourself? Yeah. I wanted to wring his neck.
Yeah, why you said
And hug him at the same time. Because that taught me that I raised him well. The 3 things that I'm still learning about being a mother is being patient, how to be quiet and listen to him without interrupting him, because that really upsets him. And seeing things from his perspective, not just mine. Because I can be like, I'm older than you, I know, you don't know, you're a kid. And he's like, yeah, but I know some things too, Mom. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, you do. So those are the 3 things that I'm working on. And I want to say, if I didn't have my mother, if I didn't have my grandmother, if I didn't have both of those forces together, I wouldn't be who I am today. And I wouldn't be the great mom that I am. I think I'm a great mom.
That's right. You are.
Great, thank you.
Oh.
That's right. I wouldn't be the speaker that I am, and I wouldn't have an open heart and be as connected as I am. And I want to say thank you guys for listening to me. My name is Lajuana Radcliffe.
Give Lajuana a well-deserved round of applause. Come on, put your hands together. Get a whole video and recording crew here. Everybody. Yeah, that's true. That's how you're supposed to do it. You gotta come. You didn't have your theme music though, Lajuana.
I know, that's the only thing.
You gotta have your theme music. You're looking like a girl from Bam Red group. Give a round of applause. Another Capricorn just like Murray White. There's no Capricorn in the building.
I salute you, sis, because everything you said was right on point. And especially when it comes to letting these young brothers release.
Yes.
Because so many times, I don't have sons, but if I had a son, I wouldn't want him to be no crybaby. At the same time, I want him to release, because when these young brothers don't release, it builds up into tension and aggression, and sometimes it's explosive and volatile towards the sisters. And then we want to know why these brothers are so disconnected and desensitized to us, but all their life they've been hearing you crying like a little girl.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's really important that our young brothers know, and big men, if they gotta let it out, let it out. So that,
But not too sensitive.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to
She said that. And with the brother being, and you know, in my consultations with children born under the number 4, like her son is, they have to trust somebody in order to talk it out. They have to be able to talk, or they'll bottle it in. And then it will come out a whole different way. It could come out them hurt themselves. So Lajuana, I'm glad you let him being born on the 31st, let him open up, because those people born under that number, they can hold it in, and if they don't hold it, they'll come out wild and come on them, hurt themselves or hurt somebody else. That's when I do my consultation with people, and I find out that children are born like that, because one child born under his number, he wasn't able to talk to his mother, and because I did a consultation, I found out that his best friend was molested. So I told the mother.
Yeah.
I had to go, because he's 13. I got to tell him that somebody's 16 is molesting him. And thus she had to, and she used to say, oh no, but why you ain't tell me? I said, I had to calm her down. I said, look here, that's why he ain't telling you, because you didn't come with a sensitive heart and being able to be empathetic or sympathetic with the brother. Yes,
Can I say something on
yes,
what you're saying?
sure.
On the level of sensitivity,
Yes.
I have to talk about this. My son is a very sensitive person.
Yes.
Right? And at some point he had gotten offended because people were like, you sensitive, so he started thinking that was a bad thing, right?
Right.
But I gave the comparison of, we got these 5 senses on the outside, and if your sense of smell is bad, you don't smell the smoke coming, you're going to die in the fire. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So being sensitive is good, right? But when you're in this harsh-ass society, it's always like it's always an affront against your senses. And if you're a sensitive person, then you are more likely to feel that pain. And if there's nobody there who understands that and gives you room for that and helps you to process and then have technology to use your sensitivity so it's not just a pain all the time, that's when we end up with the dysfunctional sensitivity. So I just want, because I know it's like not too sensitive, but I'm but it's just a matter of whatever the level of sensitivity is, they need people who can help them process that sensitivity, whatever it is, so that they can use it for our benefit. You know what I'm saying? Because we want our super sensitive people who can feel the dude coming in the door.
Of course.
I sense you coming down the block, bro. You know what I'm saying? First thing I gotta get up that door and him looking at it like, maybe there's something wrong. I want super sensitive people around. You know what I mean? So,
there's levels of sensitivity.
There's levels of sensitivity.
What happens?
Brother King, Simon, and sisters, my son, he lives with me right now. He's 16 going on 17. At this time, one. And before that, he was living with his mom and his stepdad. Now, the thing that has to be addressed is when a son is only living with his mother, he develops a female psychological profile. So that's where the sensitivity comes in, as reacting like a female profile. All right? With a man, sometimes I have to check my son.
Right.
I'm like, would you please be happy? Oh, I think he's like, I said, listen, I ain't your mom. Clean the cat, dump the trash, clean the bathroom, clean the
You ain't gonna disrespect me. But you don't teach him to disrespect her either.
Right.
That's
But
right.
what it is that men have a different approach.
Yes.
And I appreciate what your wife said about community, because you could have the brothers that do not have biological father present, they could have mentors. Because
Yes, sir.
it's important as for a young male to be mathematically astute, martial arts, and music.
Yes.
Those 3 M's is important. And I ain't talking about the M&M's in the little bag.
Yes, sir.
But it helps. Now, he got 2 daddies, in the sense of speaking.
Yes, not the ones in the books.
Thank you.
They put it in the books now, you know?
Yeah.
Tommy got 2 daddies.
Yeah.
Like, that's all right.
Just like, you know, a sensei, seafood, martial artist.
Yes.
That's a father.
That's the father thing with those. That's
So,
right.
you know, it takes a village to raise a child.
That's right. That's right. Give them a round of applause. He's there. What we're going to do is take a break. Y'all get on up, shake it on out. Go walk on over to my man, Unique Wise. Go check out Sister Capullas. Check out the Brownie Girl is in the building. Check out Brother Has. Of course, with the vegan cheesecake. Also check out Unc. Get some water from him. Sister Audio got some great stuff going on over there. Of course, we got food, vegetarian food in the back. Make sure you take an outline back home. We're gonna come back in 15 minutes. We're gonna make sure Kafunya gets on, and then Sister Malika is gonna make it happen after Kafunya. So don't go nowhere. I know you like money. So deuces. Yeah. We'll be back.
Being their better self.
I'm a Pisces, so, you know.
Crazy.
That's what we do.
Crazy.
Crazy, okay. I'm the number 6, so I'm also the number 3.
Random. I have no idea.
You don't know why you did?
I don't. I just do things like that.
Wow.
Let's do it.
39, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's interesting. That's it. You know why that's interesting?
Why?
Because it adds up to a 6, which is interesting. And 6 is an earth number, just like your number 8 is an earth number, which is very interesting why you chose something like that. You're supposed to still own property, sir. You're supposed to own property and land. You're supposed to be still doing that, going on the numbers you born on. But that number, you triggered that number for a reason. Anybody close to that number you hear? Anybody? For some reason.
Number 6? What do you mean, number 6?
The 3, because you said
Nah, it's just random.
it's just random? Yeah, but you chose an earth number when you're earth sign, which is quite interesting. And, you know, it adds up to earth numbers, so that's quite interesting. All right. Y'all ready? Yeah. Let's make some noise. Let's start up again. Let's make some noise. Wait, now, how you screaming, yo? Okay, all right. That kind of noise. Fall off the building. What we're going to do is welcome one of our sisters that I've been, one of the sisters I've known for many moons. We go back like reggae music and SOBs. No, sir, me and California go back. Like 94, those are 95, 94. We go back to the reggae music and SOBs. And then, we go back. I got old pictures of California back in the day, so I remember her, Moses. We got a picture of all of us together. Me, you, and Moses was back there. And Patrick at the meeting night concert back in the day. So, California used to be at that meeting, my concert, yes. Yeah. And promoting too, that's right. Used to be a promoter. And a manager of a group called Midnight. I don't know what Midnight, that group was a very good reggae group. Come out of Antigua, right? Oh, where they from? St. Croix. That's where they're from. Midnight is a good group. One of them's sick now, right? Oh, he got better? Oh, good. Well, we're going to welcome the one, the only, great one, Miss Sister California Eve. Round of applause. Give Sister California a round of applause. Come on, put your hands together.
Yes, greetings, brothers and sisters. I'm so happy to be here today, honoring the divine feminine, and also honoring Dr. Francis Wellsling. Thank you. So before I open, I would like to read one of my poems called To Be a Mother. I'm a mother of 4. And I have my tribes also, which they call me G-Ma.
G-Ma.
Yeah, they call me G-Ma. So this is to all the mothers, the aunties, the surrogate mothers who are mothers of the community, and more. To be a mother is not a battle easily won, but its rewards are infinite if you're a positive one. To be a mother takes power